forecast for your area. Your extended forecast.
In Irish folklore, a banshee wails outside a home as a warning that death is near. Along tropical coastlines, a howling wind announces the arrival of a very real deadly force, a hurricane. Hurricanes are categorized by wind force on a scale of 1 to 5. A wildly destructive Category 5 hurricane has sustained winds above 155 miles an hour, with gusts well over 200. Only 3 Category 5 hurricanes have hit the United States in the past century. Among the most destructive was Camille in 1969, striking Mississippi with a 25-foot-high storm surge. By the end, 256 people were killed. Survivors are left in shock at the wind's destructive force. A Category 3 hurricane exacts a terrible toll. It's the morning after Hurricane Fran ripped across the North Carolina coast. Peter Sparks is a wind damage expert who has studied some of the worst hurricane damage to American coasts.
Devastating, absolutely devastating.
Dr. Sparks rushes a team from Clemson University into the heart of the destruction. In Wilmington, they inspect a motel that lost its roof, like so many older building designs.
I was right up there in that room. In a second, the roof was gone.
By examining the construction flaws of the missing roof and other damage, the team hopes to prevent this kind of destruction in the future.
It was just like a sail. The wind got underneath it and away it went. It is also extremely dangerous if you have these things flying around. Danger of landing in another hotel next to it or houses nearby. And occasionally we do kill people by having parts of one building falling on another building.
In a wind tunnel laboratory at Clemson University, the team recreates wind damage to actual buildings. Tiny air tubes on the surface of each model building carry the wind pressures to measuring devices. Smoke reveals the wind flow patterns, while crossed laser beams measure the wind velocities. It's a race against time to construct better buildings before the next great disaster. A model of downtown Houston helps engineers observe the chaotic wind forces that push and swirl between large buildings, just as the real-life skyscrapers of Houston were pummeled by Hurricane Alicia in 1983.
You can get high wind speeds between buildings, and because of those high wind speeds, you can get high suction. It's extremely dangerous to have large panes of glass coming out 30, 40, 50 stories above the sidewalk, landing in the street below.
If there's a lesson, it's to prepare for the worst, because the worst can happen. And Peter Sparks witnessed the worst in his study of Hurricane Andrew, in which a Category 5 hurricane hit a heavily populated area in South Florida.
Hurricane Andrew was probably the most extensive example of wind damage that we have seen in any industrialized country.
The damaging winds begin the afternoon of August 24, 1992, as Andrew bears down on the Florida coastline, barely missing Miami. But cutting across South Florida like a buzzsaw, with gusting winds clocked at 175 miles per hour. Like most hurricanes, it generates its most powerful gusts after making landfall. That's because the rougher surfaces of the land create greater wind turbulence. It's a destructive scenario. Daybreak reveals the worst destruction the U.S. has ever seen. 63,000 homes are destroyed. Emergency services are stretched to the limit. The storm has left 26 people dead and hundreds more injured.
Like me, I'm homeless completely. I don't have anything. I mean, nothing. Completely nothing. So I don't know what I'm going to do.
Most of the damage could have been prevented with very little increase in cost of construction, because the damage was the result of minor failures of the structure.
In hurricanes of the future, more homes may be built to withstand the wind's destructive force. Improved construction techniques are becoming both effective and affordable. Metal straps hold roofs in place.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Laminated
1.
glass stands up to airborne missiles.
The important thing is to recognize the risk and to design our buildings, our cities, our infrastructure to account for that.
In learning to survive hurricanes, scientists also study the inner workings of these whirlwinds. What makes the hurricane so brutally damaging is a ring of fury surrounding the eye of the storm, known as the eye wall. As the rising winds at the center suck in surrounding air, the converging winds spin faster and faster, creating the destructive speeds in the eye wall. You don't need a weatherman to tell you when the eye wall is hit.
This is really eye wall city.
Yeah.
Definitely.
When the eye of Hurricane Bertha passes over Surf City, North Carolina, a man and his dog take a grave risk by going out to meet the storm, eye to eye.
How long do you get to be in? How many times you get to be in the eye of a hurricane? All right, there it is, right up in it.
Staring up a shaft 30,000 feet high, a patch of clear sky shines like a glimpse of heaven. Human and hurricane meet for a few precious minutes.
The eye's closing in. I think we're about to get in the second half.
As the eye moves on, the other half of the eye wall arrives to continue its rampage. But the biggest monsters are born in the Pacific Ocean, and one is headed for Hawaii.
If you haven't changed the oil in your car in the last 3 months or 3,000 miles, then you need to get in the zone. AutoZone. You see, if you don't change your oil and replace the filter often enough, then you'll do a lot of damage to your engine, and that'll lead to some costly repairs down the road. So get to AutoZone right now. Change your oil and get more life out of your car.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
To find an AutoZone near you or to shop online, visit AutoZone.com.
It's all new, and it's as colorful as the world around you. Introducing the Color Solution Center, only at the Home Depot. It's more than a store. It's a new and easier way to match or find a complement for any color you can imagine. It's Ralph Lauren, Behr, Glidden, and Disney in the largest paint color palette in America. Come see the brand new Color Solution Center only at the Home Depot. You can do it. We can help.
I wonder how our home equity loan's going.
I'll check. Here you go, sir. Thank you.
Lower, please.
Mr. Bradley was in the lead, but now it's looking like Davis.
Want banks to compete over you? Come to LendingTree.com. Receive home equity rates as low as 4%.
Well, that's not going to help you, Bradley.
When bank...